Hey y'all. Well, it's time to walk and to go home. And so here I go. Look at this beautiful little decor. And what a nice little setup this is. And a little TV. Cool room. Not a cool room, you guys. It's called the Pulse. And it just has all kinds of information that comes into us, making us very smart. Look at this hallway. I have to show y'all this hallway. Looky here. Isn't that the coolest? Yeah, where I work's pretty cool. And all the things that we do, it's our pleasure. For real. Now let me just tell you, I hope I don't have to cut this off. I don't. I'm gonna be all by my little self in this elevator. And ouch, I've overloaded my purse as usual. Look at my purse, y'all. Look, I've got all my organizer thingy and my day planner thingy. Now, can you believe I just called that a thingy after I did a whole video on both of those? Okay. Well, and look, isn't this the coolest? Yep. It sure is. It's pretty cool. Oh, what a beautiful day. Y'all look. Pretty. You know, all that I've said in this whole video is y'all look. But I'm seeing all kinds of pretty things. Let's see if there's any dead bats or birds. None, look. I'm so glad, because usually because up there they run into the glass and that part's awful. So how have y'all been? I hope you're doing good today. Look, there's the garden. See, I keep saying, look, that's where I'm going, up to the garden. I like to walk through there because it comes out right where I parked my car this morning, and it gives me some steps to climb and a little hill to go up. So I kind of feel like I did my exercise for the day. Well, I listed on my day planner today that my exercise for the day was going to be steps. Done. So, and I'm in little flats today instead of heels, so it's so much easier to walk. Oh, it's so pretty out here, y'all. I just love it. But anyway, so I hope y'all have had a good day. I had a productive day. I had a lot of meetings and fires to put out, all that kind of stuff, and planning. And I've been thinking about my husband's going to be doing something special for Mother's Day. I typically go away. I am a stepmom, and that is an honor to help parent someone else's children, but it's not quite the same as having birth children yourself. Sometimes I used to think of myself as a barren woman as a sin or a punishment for something, and then I just realized it's just not what God had for me, because I know that there's other people get pregnant quote unquote by accident, but nobody's pregnant except that God gives them life. And the Bible's very clear that life is a gift. I know some people throw the gift away, and that's why I'm like, but God, I wouldn't have thrown it away, so why didn't I get a kid? And so sometimes it's real painful. And then also I'm very blessed that you know, my husband has children that I have parented. Clearly, I think they all three would agree with that. But they have moms, and I don't ever want to disrespect that they have a mom, you know. And so I call them my kids because I don't like the term stepkid. It just, or stepchild, or I mean, it is the truth of the matter. And so it's not like it shouldn't be a bad label. But I just, as long as they're okay with me calling them my son or my daughter, or their moms are okay, as long as I acknowledge them, I think it's okay. But anyway, it's just painful. It's painful that I never got to have a child, and I'm probably inordinately attached to my dogs for that reason. I mean, people are probably like, you kind of go overboard with your dogs. It's probably because my maternal instincts are, look at this walk. I did this on purpose. No, I didn't. I didn't get a good parking place this morning, but I kind of like parking further away because it does make me walk, and I need to walk. Anyway, so it's a distance, and I'll talk to you while I walk. But anyway, so I trust God, the fact that I never was able to conceive. My ex-husband was able to conceive with the wife he remarried, and so it wasn't him, it's me. Or maybe it was timing, because once me and my husband Lance got married, we didn't try not to have kids, we didn't try to have kids, and I've been off birth control since before menopause, and I don't know, I had a lot of problems, lady problems, as far as a lot of inordinate pain, and I was told it's just an overproduction of prostaglandins, which are the little things that make you cramp and have a period each month. Is this PMI, TMI? Too much, oversharing, whatever you want to call it. But then I found out lots of people have that. That wasn't unusual, it's just people didn't talk about it in the day. And so that being said, I don't think it was that. I did then. I had a few non-invasive kind of laparoscopy type procedures to go in and see if there was anything wrong, like endometriosis or, all the things they check you for, when you're not conceiving. And I didn't have any of those problems, so I don't know. I do not know why I don't have babies, but that's okay. I have my fur babies. I have my stepchildren, who to me are my children. They're certainly my spiritual children, because I pray for them like I would if they were my own child, which is pretty constant. And they're good kids. I just pray for them a lot. But the main thing is that God will keep them in the faith of Jesus Christ and keep a real relationship with Him at any cost. There's nothing more important to pray for your kids than that they would be close to Jesus. Because if they're in the center of Jesus' heart, if they're in the center of God's will, there is no safer place for them. Did you just see that I have a broken nail? That's where I'm headed now, is to a nail appointment, because that looks just absolutely awful, doesn't it? But as much as I've enjoyed these, what they're called, the coffin nails, they're longer nails. Isn't that a terrible name? But it's because they are, they, narrow them very, very well, and then it almost makes them round on the end, and then they square it off, so it looks like a coffin, I guess. But to me, because I type so much, almost my whole day's on the computer, doing emails and meeting requests and everything. So because of that, to me, they look rounded. What do y'all think? I like them though. I like them a lot. I think somebody said you talked about your nails too long. I'm sorry. I just did it again. Don't watch that part. Okay, so, hold on. You have to get in the cup for a minute. Hold on. You have to be in the cup. There you are. And the little mount up there, we'll just have to take a minute. Hold on. There, we have to put on the safety belt. Even for the driveway, I got to think the other day, I set a very bad example. Hold on, there. I set a very bad example the other day by driving even in the little driveway without putting my safety belt on. But, because it's a mile long driveway here at the Chick-fil-A. But anyway, so I decided, I told you guys that I was going to do a Bethy Bible devotion on when life just really stinks. And we talked about what would the title of it actually be. And just because I feel like a lot of people, when I talk to you guys on comments or, I talk to other people who are watching my channel, and they just say, whether they're friends or they're whatever, they're just talking about tough times that they're going through. And I know that that's a time, a lot of times, when people fall away from the Lord. They think, well, He should fix their problems if He cares about them. And the example that I use that's not true is the Lord did not stop Jesus' suffering. He could have, and Jesus could have stopped His suffering. We call it the Passion of the Christ. But it basically means the suffering. And He could have stopped it at any second, but that actual suffering is what was supposed to happen. The suffering of the flesh, or the giving up of the blood, which is where your life is. And so He had to do it so we wouldn't have to do it. So there is a time that God says, I'm not going to stop this bad thing from happening, but Sometimes it is a trial or a test. He knows, by the way, when I say a test, he knows that we're weak and we're fragile. He made us out of the dust, and he wants us dependent on him for the strength, and that's all that he's teaching us. It's just a hard lesson for us to get for some reason. Is faith and trusting in him no matter what. So the no matter what sometimes has to happen so that we'll see that through it, he was there, we were in his presence, and we came through it. Now, there's times where we don't come through it in this life, and that's a very real thing. I mean, people are like, well, Beth, I did trust God, but my mother died. Well, hey, same here. I trusted God and begged him for my mother's life, but she died anyway. My dad sat down in front of me and my sister and cried out to God to say, please give me 2 more years. I remember thinking that was so cute that he named a number. But he's now been, what's it been? What was that? 2011. It's been 6 years. And since my mother died, that my dad's been alive. And that's a long time to be lonely for someone that you had for 65 years of your life. Because they got married so young back then. Well, people still do, but when you have a world war, a lot of people are getting married probably so they could have sex before they died. And I know that sounds terrible, but when young men were going off to war, they wanted to have a wife first at least once. And a lot of people believed in waiting till you were married to have sex, so they got married so they could have a wife, and a lot of times it's because they knew that they may not come back, so they wanted to at least have had a wife. I don't know. Or maybe it's just because they were young and in love and they just wanted to be married. I don't know. But these were people who didn't believe in divorce. These were people who stuck it out no matter what. And I mean some serious what. And because my parents, they had some time, let me tell you. But they stuck it out. And I gotta tell you, as a person who has been divorced, which is not something I'm thrilled about, it sure means a lot that my parents never did. And they always say, well, kids are resilient, they get over it. No, they don't. They're scarred by it, and whether you want to hear that or not, they are. And they go on because they have to go on and survive, but there's scars from it, just like any trauma, but nothing more than, the trauma of having the home nest, the safe place, tore up. I know some home nests are not safe places. They're dangerous, abusive places. And so they're not losing that for sure. But anyway, boy, is that a tough subject. But I've been there, and I have wrestled with that so much in my first marriage. So I know what people are talking about when they say, you just don't understand. I do understand. And that's not to put down first married people that you've divorced, they're the bad person or they're the problem. It takes 2 to tango. It's almost always both your fault. And but there can be one that's more at fault than others, especially in the situation of abuse or things like that. So I don't know, but all I know is when a loved one hurts you or something terrible goes wrong in your life and you just feel like, where is God in this? He's right there. And he's helping you through it. And you think, if he's right there, why doesn't he stop it? I've asked him that 1,000,000 times in my life. And he has answered me in different ways at different times in my life. That's what I have to tell you. Sometimes he's shown me the actual reason why. Sometimes he's shown me that he's not going to give me that reason why. It's not something that I can handle or understand because he's God and I'm not. Is that the advice you wanted to hear today? I bet not. But I've learned this. I need to trust God no matter what it looks like to me. That he proved he's trustworthy by being, and that he's powerful enough, and that he loves me enough when he sent his son to the cross, and his son had already agreed, and he went. He did not change his mind, and he died for me. And they left the Holy Spirit behind, and he decided to stay with me until I'm united again with God in heaven. And that's my thought for the day. I know, all over the place. Love you guys. Bye.